Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita. Woofer blowing up the tweeter cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down.
Funkhauser, play my new favorite song.
All right.
Yes! Yes!
The hook is huge. Play it loud, Funker.
Have no fear, got this under control. I'm a family warrior. So give me what
Goosebumps.
Why,
I guess.
Why is this your favorite song?
I guess we should tell people what the hell we're listening to. This is Jim Breuer and the Loud and Rowdy. And why are we listening to it, besides the fact that it's my new favorite song? Because Jim Breuer is our guest in the studio today. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
You're welcome. This is exciting. This is. I'm glad you're digging on this song. This is my silent, secret kind of favorite song. This song is the oldest one of the whole album. I wrote in 1999.
No kidding.
Yes, this is when it started. Yeah.
It's like the best Megadeth song that Megadeth haven't gotten around to writing yet. Sorry, Dave, but honestly, maybe you should take a listen to this before you go back into the studio again. So freaking good. And I'll tell you why it's my favorite song in just a little bit, but let's back up for a second. Jim Breuer has an album, Loud and Rowdy.
Yeah.
Songs from the garage. And it's a straight-up incredible metal record. It's really, really freaking good. And what a lot of people might not realize about you is you've been singing for a long time. Like, everybody knows you as one of the greatest comedians on the face of the freaking planet, but you've been singing forever, right?
I have been, but I didn't know what my voice was. I'm able to imitate other voices. I can do Ozzy Osbourne very easily. Dude, I can do Lars Ulrich. Lars is, we've got this album and it should drop hopefully for Christmas, and Santa will have the new Metallica CD for everyone to have, right, James? Yeah! Yeah! Ooh! So those
is going to be hard getting through this without being in hysterics.
Those guys are easy, but I couldn't find my voice. And this song was originally called Heavy Metal Man. And it started in 1999 when I put out Heavy Metal Comedy, except for it wasn't fully developed. I had all the lyrics except for the Family Warrior part. So technically it's my oldest, that's the oldest riff I've had and the oldest song I've had that I get to put on the record.
Well, I mean, I love it because it's a huge hook and it rocks. But also, to me, that song is you. I'm going over the press release, and I kind of knew this anyway, but you said during the writing, my father and my sister passed, and my wife was diagnosed with cancer for the second time, and Family Warrior became my battle cry for my family. Laughter is a healer.
Exactly. And that's exactly, it's been the healer throughout our whole lives from the beginning of time. My father, everything was funny. I mean, this is a World War II vet, grew up with 10 brothers and sisters. His mother was dead by the time he was 2, so he grew up in the Depression, and to him, everything was comical, and it was black and white, and he spread that to all of us, and I still feel that way. And it's amazing. That time was brutal. However,
of course.
However, this was such a great outlet to heal it all. And even my wife just rooting and pushing me, get back in there, go do this, and it was powerful. I'm getting all weird right now. I'm getting all teary, I think.
Dude, honestly, knowing you and knowing what you've been through and knowing what that song is about, I'm not ashamed to let you know I got misty when I was listening to that song for the first time, too. More with Jim Breuer when we come back. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Let's start the show. Hot 1, hot 2, hot 3, hot AC from your radio live and uncut. Tonight, you're cutting loose and having fun. Cause that's my job and my job's about to get done. Yeah.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
Yeah, do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone ever.
So if you are just joining us, we are unbelievably honored today that Jim Breuer has lowered himself to being on our little show. Why? Well, for a number of reasons. First and foremost, we're very lucky. Second of all, he's got a new album, Songs from the Garage, with his band, The Loud and Rowdy. Let's listen to Thrash, Funkhauser.
Yes! He's air drumming.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So, all right, which came first? Knowing that you could do impressions or knowing that you could sing? Like, I would imagine the two go hand in hand. If you can make your voice do one thing, chances are you can make it do another.
The impression started first, and I didn't realize the singing. I could do it. I knew I could do it, but I had such fear. I used to go to I was 17. I wanted to sing immediately like Rob Halford and Klaus Meine of the Scorpions. And so I would go there and I'm like, I want to sing Still Loving You. And, and the guy has a piano where he's like, bing, 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 sunrise, sunset, sunrise. I'm like, no, Still Loving You. That's what I want. Rock you like a hurricane. Sunrise, sunset. And I was like, oh, man, this is going to take a lot longer than I anticipated. So, definitely the impressions came first. It took a while for me to figure out what my voice was. Caggiano, who produced it, plays in Volbeat, used to be in Anthrax, does all guitars on here.
Let's back up for a second because I'm looking through the liner notes, and you basically made the album with a bunch of dudes I know. Rob Caggiano, guitar player extraordinaire, Anthrax, Volbeat, like you said, and also an incredibly gifted producer. Like he's a producer and a mixer on a whole bunch of records. And the guy that mastered your record, Paul Logus, is, I'm going to send this to Paul, he's going to be flipped out, but Paul Logus he's almost like family to me. And I was just like, oh my God. But he's also a genius. I was like, you got the very best people. How did you hunt down Rob from Anthrax to do this? Or did you just know him from New York?
No, this is hilarious. His management company, they approached me years ago, and things didn't really go out and whatever, and then we moved on, and then I just knew I needed a producer. Yeah. And for some reason, I went on that site. I'm like, I think they got producers over there. And I swear on my life, I would be a liar if I said I knew who Rob was. I liked Anthrax. Wasn't, when I was a kid, I was more Anthrax. And I looked at Rob's picture of the goatee and the knit hat, and I knew he's from the Bronx. I went, this guy's going to get me. Hunt this guy down. This guy is going to get my East Coast family, 80s metal, thrash, hard rock. This is the guy. And we hooked up. My management went and got him. He came, saw me do stand-up, and he's like, bro, we got to do an album. Bro, it's gonna be amazing. Go do this album. And as I'm very emotional. So I'm like, Rob, how's this song? It's bro, it's a monster. I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna have to call the police. Thing's a monster. But he would say that every song. Like, all right, how did Old School come out, bro? What do I keep saying? It's another monster. I don't know which monster's bigger. One's bigger than the other. He was great. Introduced me to Paul. Great guy. And he pushed me to limits that I didn't know I was capable of. He'd go, Breuer, you can sing higher. Like, no, I can't. He goes, I heard you imitate. You can hit high notes. Like, I don't want to, because you have to. You have to. Yeah, so if it wasn't for Rob, this truly would be a disaster. Hands down. This would be a flop. I wouldn't have been. He nailed my vision 1,000%. And he made it masterful. He pushed me to the limits. He made me write hard. I didn't know I was capable of half these lyrics. You know, I came in there like, you can ask him. I would come in like, I love heavy metal, rock and roll rules. Let's thrash. Like, what is this, kindergarten? Come on. You're better than that. So, yeah, thank God.
Hold on.
Thank God.
You are like one of the greatest wordsmiths on the face of the planet. You thought you would have a hard time writing lyrics? Like, this is surprising to me.
Well, I did. I thought I was good. But when Rob got a hold of it,
Rob said no.
Rob was like, this is terrible. This one's hot right here.
That's you?
No, that's not me.
No, that's a guy called Brian Johnson. But the thing is, when you sing, you go toe-to-toe with Brian Johnson from AC/DC, and you hold your own. It's amazing. Play this louder, Funkhauser.
Like you never seen. So roll out the carpet, line up the shots with my fist in the air. I'm the king of the block, yeah. So tell me what you believe in. Tell me, are you satisfied? Drop the cards and look at the dealer. Come along for the ride. Start that fire inside. I'll rise up. Got no mercy for the night.
It's huge. It's amazing.
Monster.
Jim Breuer, the Loud and Rowdy songs from the garage. Do yourself a favor, run out and get it today. I have some questions I want to ask you about Brian Johnson,
Sure.
also about the Mets and More podcast that you do, and I want to go back to humor being what it is that's gotten you through the high times, the low times, and all the times in between with your family. Jim Breuer is our guest. Thank you so much for joining us. Play it loud, Funkhauser.
So tell me what you believe in. Tell me, are you satisfied? Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do.
Jim Breuer is our guest in the studio today. And he's here to talk about his new album from his band, The Loud and Rowdy, Songs from the Garage. You've got a song called Family Warrior, which I love. I love because it's you. It's the story of you getting through the high times, the low times, and all the times in between, written during a really tough run of things. And about how humor is what absolutely gets you and your family through. And that's amazing. You say that comes from your dad?
Well, it comes from my mom and my dad, and pretty much the whole family and everyone I grew up with. We grew up really blue collar, to the point where even my best friend he has nothing in life. He's zero. Never really had much of a chance. And I tell you, one of the greatest moments of my whole life just brings it back to normalcy. I remember I had a big deal in California. It was going to be a TV star, cover TV guide. Me and Dave Chappelle on a TV show, and all this big stuff going on. And I remember the commercials were airing for the show. We were following Home Improvement. I flew my best friends out for the premiere, and I got fired like 2 days before the show aired. Actually,
I know this story. I remember this story. This is amazing and tragic. Go on.
And it was beyond devastating because there was no answers, no like your acting sucks or anything like that. But I'll never forget going to my room, my hotel room, where my friends are waiting there. They white trash the place out. They're killing the minibar. I ordered a limo. And they knew right away. My friend goes, "Hey, what's the matter?" And I went, I'm fired. And my one friend goes, what do you mean? Can they do that? I'm like, they just did. And it was pure silence for about 5 seconds. And then my one friend just brought it back to blue collar. He's like, well, I guess we're going out tonight because you ain't got a job and you ain't got to get up in the morning. And and I can't even tell you why that was the most healing. Everyone said, you're great, and you're going to do better, and da-da-da. That simple moment, you ain't got a job, so let's go out. You ain't got to get up in the morning. I only got $20, though, so you only own Coors Light.
Oh, God, you make my chest hurt. I'm laughing so hard.
And we laughed. I laughed so hard. And he changed my life right there. I mean, that's the way our mentality's been our whole life. Like, listen, we're not going to change the situation, whether it's mortality, a firing, whatever you have going on. You're not going to change it. So you have two directions to go: weep and feel bad, or find the funny, heal, and move on. And that's what we always chose to do.
You know, there's very few things outside of you that can make you happy. I think you're absolutely right. You got to find the funny, move on. You got to create your own sense of happiness. And there's not a ton that makes me happy that I haven't sort of created within myself. But when the Mets win, that makes me happy. When I listen to Howard Stern, that makes me happy. When I hear you, that makes me happy. Like there's a very small number of things outside of oneself that can make you happy. And you and your attitude in hearing you talk about this stuff is, I don't know if you intend for it to be, but it is one of the most uplifting things I've ever heard. I'll go back to old interviews with you just to hear you talk about this stuff. You've been a tremendous roadmap in my life. You really have.
Well, that's huge to me because I pride myself on living by example. That's how my crew grew up. Like, you can say you're this and say you're that and go do this, and you just live by example. People notice. And it's interesting that you brought up the Mets thing. Another part of the healing and comedy came from, you know, this whole Mets video that started going nuts, my recaps after every show on Facebook. Again, that sparked my wife. My wife she's going through the chemo, and she's in the kitchen, and it was the opening day last year, Bartolo Colon versus Max Scherzer, who just signed a big contract, and they're the team to beat. And Bartolo,
by the way, if you can't find comedy in Bartolo Colon, you can't find it in anything. I love that guy. There's nothing funnier than a Bartolo Colon at bat.
Who doesn't love Big Bart? And he went toe to toe with Max. Max Scherzer had a no-hitter against the Mets to the seventh inning. They beat the Nationals, and I was going nuts like it was seventh game World Series. And I turn around, my wife with no energy, her hair's gone, and she's got this smirk on her face. And I go, what's so funny over there? And she went, this is what you should be making videos. As a fan, the way you act, you're going to bring so many fans joy as long as you stay that fan. Do that. And I went, oh, my God, you think so? She went, every game. Every game? Every game? How about just she said, no, just you should be in a net. You got to put this out there. And again, that technically came from tragedy. So you gotta find the goods in life. You know, we found things to bond each other, and that was one of them. And I love doing it now.
I get goosebumps hearing you talk about it. Not just goosebumps hearing you talk about the Mets, but that whole experience. Can you still make your wife laugh? Because I remember hearing Jerry Seinfeld say once, like, you know, your wife's used to you. She's around you while you're going through your process, finding the funny and everything. Can you make your wife laugh? And I think Stern asked him this, and he was like, I really have to be throwing the heat to be able to get a laugh out of my wife.
I make her laugh hard. I make her belly laugh hard. But just like Jerry says, you have to bring your A game. And she's a different crowd. She didn't pay to come see me. She's not excited, waiting for the big laugh. So I have to hit her with little subtle moments and left field and jokes that come from the back end she didn't see coming. So I pride myself in making her bust a gut. And she keeps me. It's almost like what was those movies? Inspector Clouseau, when he
Pink Panther.
That's right, Pink Panther. He come home and he's got to deal with Kudo, whatever the guy was, and they fight. He He's like, I don't want to do this today. And the guy was hiding, and he's ready to kick his butt. That's me coming home trying to make my wife laugh. Like, she has no clue I'm on a mission today. So, yeah, I still make her laugh, man.
How have you been received by like the Mets fans? That your Mets and More podcast, the videos that you make. Like, I mean, when did that stop being you being a fan and become sort of what seems like a vaguely official part of the Mets?
Well, I'm still just part of the fan. So they warmly accepted me and other teams, other fans now. I notice if I'm nice, I just go, hey, you know what? Sorry we beat you down. You have a nice little team. Oh, that was classy. We're with you now. So I think the Mets in the middle of the season, they kind of just embraced me as that guy. It was weird to go to the stadium and see little kids come up. They don't know anything about me except, that's the Mets video guy. Oh, my God, Dad, that's the Mets video guy. And I'm like, wow, okay. And what it did for me, which I had no clue it was going to do, a whole new fan base discovered like who I was. You just think you put things out there and people either like you or don't, and you have no clue. You know, and I live in this little entertainment world. Like, people kind of know who I am, and they either like me or don't. No, I'm on 1% of the radar, and now the Met fans show up at the shows, Met hats, Met shirts. The East Coast, you can't buy a ticket, and I'm noticing. Like last night, I was about a week, I was in California doing shows, and there were Met hats, Met shirts. It became a family, and still does. It still does. It's it's only a minute. I only put out a minute, and I just love doing it. I'm not making money. I'm not trying to make money. I'm just doing what my wife said. Stay the fan, and the fans are gonna love it, and it is. I'm working on passions right now. Passion, Mets, metal, comedy. I'm in heaven right now. I'm in heaven.
There's something about being a Mets fan. Like, I live mostly Texas and California, but from New York, I didn't even grow up in New York. I grew up in England, and the way I got hooked into the Mets was like, I 5 years old. My dad lets me stay up late in England. He was the pitcher on his high school baseball team.
Wow.
And we moved to England. And my connection with the old man was playing catch and watching ball. And so, like, 86 World Series, arguably the greatest World Series of all time, the team from New York, where I know we're vaguely from, wins. I'll still get goosebumps talking about it now. Like, it stays with you forever, and you are... Like, nobody chooses to be a Mets fan. Nobody chooses. That is thrust upon you. But one thing that I've heard said is... Mets have so many stand-up comedians that happen to be their fans. There's right. You, there's obviously Seinfeld, there's Chris Rock, there's Kevin James, and I read somewhere that it takes the same sort of self-loathing to be a stand-up comic as it does to be a Mets fan. Can you speak to that?
That is exactly true. I go up, and it took me... I think people... I look like I'm baked all the time, and so I'm already behind the ball. Expectation levels of me are already below zero. And people judge me, and I have no problem putting my humility out there. And that you need to have that as a Mets fan, because
yeah, you do.
They'll have that run, but they have years of just horror. Hey, we're winning 8-0 going into the 9th. I don't know if you watched last night, but the Cardinals scored 9 runs in the bottom of the 9th to take away the not only did a no-hitter was going on, but they blew the no-hitter and they lost the game. Tragic game for the Mets again. Tragic year for the Mets again. And it's,
so, I mean, but you're right. This Mets family, like, there's this guy that sort of discovered me on Twitter at Big Mets Fan 1. He'll be thrilled that we shout him out. But, like, honestly, I'm watching the games from either California or Texas, and that Mets family just reaches in and embrace you. They find you. They connect with you. And it's like, it makes perfect sense to me that this has been such a big deal for you.
You know why? Because if you're a Mets fan, I instantly can relate to you, because if you're a Mets fan, you instantly you deal with pain, you deal with suffering, but you're loyal You're faithful and you love them no matter what. It's like loving an alcoholic. You know they're going to disappoint you. You know they're going to flake on you, but you go, you know what? I love them. They're family. They're going to get better one day. They're getting help. And that is, I guess that's the best way. It's the foundation of life, where if you got a team, no disrespect the Yankees, but yeah, it's expected. You got maids, you got people driving you around. So I'll see you in October when we're in the playoffs again and again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
It's expected. You know, where's my breakfast? What's going on here?
I don't remember who it was. I can't remember. I'm blanking on the name of the comic, but someone said cheering for the Yankees is like going to the casino and cheering for the house. Like, it just makes no sense.
That's funny, and it is. It's their and no disrespect.
Stanhope. It was Doug Stanhope that said that. Sorry, I just had to credit him. So funny.
And well worth it too. He is funny. He's a guy that I've watched live in the back of the room. I don't like watching a lot of guys. I like watching him because not only is he funny, but you don't know if the train is going off the tracks, and there's something exciting about that.
So you don't like watching comics? Like, I mean, that's is it because you just know how comedy works? You know where it's going. You know?
Yeah. There's a couple guys like Sebastian Maniscalco makes me laugh hard. Bill Burr makes me laugh hard. But I don't go out of my way to, it's like music. You're like, all right, I've heard this riff. All right, I know this. Oh, okay, yeah.
Sure.
I've heard this premise. Whoa, what do we got going on here?
Well, we're going to talk more about your record when we get back, and I have some big questions for you about what it was that started your musical journey and your comedy journey. Jim Breuer is our guest in the studio today. Songs from the Garage from his band, The Loud and Rowdy. Play us out, Funkhauser.
In time, that's a fact we cannot change. It's your soul, that's who you are, and your body's just a cage. What lies beneath it all? Welcome to the unexplained. We lie awake, let our thoughts burn up the night. We are the chosen ones, affairs of the light. Break down the walls, don't surrender to it all.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
Jim Breuer is our guest in the studio today. Why? Because we're incredibly lucky. That's why. Also because he's got a new album called Songs from the Garage with his band, The Loud and Rowdy. Let's play this loud for a second, Funkhauser. That is Rob Caggiano from playing guitar. No
Absolutely.
Question about it when you hear
Like
that.
a locomotive, full steam ahead. Could this be a side effect? Are these kids on meds? Wow! It's hyperactive actions. What the hell can this be? Full-blown madness right in front of me. Candy eyes and solar smiles that raging far and wide. Can't believe just what I see. Higher than the sky.
A song about getting your kids all hopped up on sugar or someone else getting them all hopped up on sugar. Sugar Rush with Jim Breuer and The Loud and Rowdy off of the new album Songs from the Garage. I love that all the songs are about sort of, well, for the most part, your family and your life.
Yes, it really are. Right from the beginning. It sets the tone from thrash. Thrash is who I am at the end of the day. You know, you can bring me to, my wife will go to church, and therapy, working out. At the end of the day, the thing that makes me feel good is when nobody's home and I got my headphones on and I'm blasting my own concert. God, I think that's gonna. When I'm 85 and I got the pens on and you can't get me in the shower, you turn on that old school thrash and I'll be able to scrub myself.
See, I actually, I don't have kids, but I have a godson, and my favorite thing to do is to take him out, take him to the movies, take him to IHOP, watch him mainline syrup for an hour and a half, and then turn him over to his parents, despondent and hyperactive. I'm like, have fun with that.
You know, my favorite part of that whole song, the middle part, I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard. It's a breakdown. It's a total Van Halen breakdown, but I say, I don't know why this makes me laugh. I come back and I see they're all bugging out, and I say that sugar devil got control. It's that sugar devil. It's right here. This is when everyone's clapping. All right, everyone, put your hands in the air. Let me see everyone clapping. I want all the hands in the air. For all the kids bugging out on their birthday, and all the Easter chocolate, and Halloween. Right here.
They had that look in their eyes. I felt it all day long.
Right here. I love this line.
That sugar devil took control. Now their minds are gone.
So good.
Sugar rush.
And you are singing your ass off on this stuff. I knew you were me and Caggiano, your producer, used to pal around when we were both kids in bands back in the day.
Yeah.
And he has talent, so he went off to be a rock star in Anthrax and Volbeat, and I do not, so I wound up on the radio instead. But I know a thing or two about singing, and I remember seeing you do AC/DC's Hokey Pokey once on stage, and I was like, holy crap, Breuer's got pipes, legit, and but you can really sing. You're hitting notes Vince Neil has only dreamt about for the last 15 to 20 years.
Sienna looks like cow.
Yeah, no, exactly. When you're making the album, this is where it comes down. I want to see everybody's hands, in your mind, going back to you putting on headphones and thrash. That the house is empty, the kids are gone, the wife's out of the way. I'm just going to lose my mind to heavy metal music. When you were making this album, were you at your own personal concert? This is the point in the show where hands are going in the air and lighters are up, and was it like that for you?
I wrote the entire album with a visual of being live. That's why those are, to me, still the greatest concert I've ever been to. When I was a teenager, they were the Wiggles for adults. I know metal fans will get mad about that, but come on, you got Eddie coming out for Iron Maiden. Here comes Eddie, and Brian Johnson's hitting a bell in AC/DC, and Angus has got a schoolboy outfit and cannons, and Judas Priest, there's lasers. Halford comes out of a mouth for Love Bites, and the fire's going on. But the hooks, the pumping of the fist of certain songs and choruses. I wrote this whole album for a concert. Every single one, I know where I'm going to break it down. I know where I want you chanting. I know where you want you singing along. That I definitely had that all in mind. And then the singing. People don't know this, but I technically, I've been working on this for.
Wait,
a while.
Hold on. Are we getting an exclusive here? Is this?
Well, the first time I really wanted to leak this, because I knew this was a dream I really want to put out there. When I was on satellite radio, Halford was coming on the show, and I got my band together. I said, "Let's learn the Devil's Child and see if he jumps in." And you can watch that on YouTube. Me and Halford singing the Devil's Child, and he hits that high in the there's a middle part where he hits where it's skyrocket high, but me and him go back and forth, and that is a moment I'm like, I'm singing with the metal god.
Halford. You have to feel you're very, very humble about everything that you do. You really are. And I hear you downplay everything that you do almost to a fault. This is such a big deal to so many people listening, such a big deal to me and Funkhauser that you're here. And while you downplay everything, you got to at least allow yourself a moment when you're doing things like singing with Rob Halford or Brian Johnson of AC/DC, where you go, I win this one. I win it.
Listen, I think I balance my whole life being as normal as possible. Because at the end of the day, it's my wife and kids and my family that is waiting for me. And the other foot in the entertainment. So I keep as a fan. These are still the gods. I'm just playing. We're all just playing while we're on Earth.
Well, you need to pat yourself on the back for any number of reasons, not least of which is this incredible album you've made, Jim Breuer and the Loud and Rowdy. Songs from the Garage. More when we come back. Thank you so much for hanging out, Jim.
Thank you.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
We are in studio with Jim Breuer today, listening to songs from his album Song from the Garage with the Loud and Rowdy, like this one.
But they all laughed at me. Well, they ain't laughing now. I kept that dream. Was I going to be a rock and roll singer or a comedian? I worked, got married, had kids, but that dream wouldn't go away. I didn't want to wake up so I could stay in my dream. Then I realized you got to stop dreaming and just do it. But it ain't that easy. You got to go hungry. You got to get mean. There ain't no nice place in between. You gotta go for the jugular. You gotta take it on the chin. You gotta eat the food that other people bring. You gotta want it real bad. And when you do get it, it scares the living hell out of you. I mean...
My Rock and Roll Dream, featuring the narration skills of Brian Johnson from AC/DC. Am I correct?
Absolutely. He came in the studio... And he goes, Jimmy, son, I wrote a little thing for you. I don't know if you want to use it, my son. But,
wait, hold on. This was my question. He wrote this about you.
Yes. And he said...
Again, you need to pat yourself on the freaking back. When the lead singer of AC/DC writes something about you...
It's weird.
Go on. Please go on.
It's just weird. I know, it's weird. And he goes... you know, on a yellow pad, he brought the yellow pad. He's like, you know, if you want to use it for, maybe you can put it in a song or something. It's up to you. I leave that up to you, my son. And he just started, he started reading it. And as he read it, I went, oh my God, it's just got to be that. It's got to... Yeah. That is the most amazing thing. You should be in movies. You should be narrating movies. You should be... There's so many things you should be doing, Brian. This is...
With those pipes, besides singing, it's amazing.
It is amazing. He is, I tell you, what an icon of a singer, man, music, and he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He's unreal.
And he wrote something about you, which brings me to my next question. Back in the day, when I was a kid listening to the radio, I heard some DJ ask Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, hey man, if you had to pick one song or one record or one artist that first broke through to you and really reached you and made you know that music had to be your thing, what would it be? And quick as a flash, old Jerry was like, oh, Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I was like, wow, I did not see that one coming. But ever since then, that's been kind of like my leadoff question when I get a chance to talk to folks like you. As a musician, which you are, like a lot of people don't realize it, but as a musician, what do you think was the first record that broke through to you?
It's a good question. You can think about it.
The first record.
Or it could have been something you saw on TV or a show you went to.
This is what it was. I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was Judas Priest screaming for vengeance changed my entire life. That song, You Got Another Thing Coming, literally became my battle cry to this day. The way my attitude, the way I looked at life, how short life was, and that put me into the metal world. I was tinkering. I still had, and I ran on that. I had people shoving me with Duran Duran, who I hated, and you had this metal scene, dance scene, new wave scene, and then that album, those songs changed everything for me, and that was it. That changed my whole lifestyle. Everything. I was in a rock club doing stand-up, and it was all because of You Got Another Thing Coming. You think I'm going to sit around as the world goes by?
That became a mantra for your life,
My whole life. It's
amazing.
Life. Yeah.
Amazing.
That was it. Yeah.
I'm going to go back and listen to that with fresh ears and try and make it a mantra for my life. And now this brings me to an interesting point, the doing comedy in a rock club. Now, you're on tour now. You're playing the Observatory in North Park in San Diego tomorrow. And let me ask you this. That's just you doing stand-up, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I read that you played the Wacken Festival, the ginormous German metal festival with a band, though. And this is kind of what made you decide to make a record. Like, people were bugging out on the songs that you were playing. You're like, wow, imagine if they'd heard this on an album. That would be pretty cool, right? So you've been combining comedy and metal for a while now. It sounds like all the way back to your Judas Priest days.
Yeah, well, I toured with a band in 1990 through 1993, 4, where we would go out and I would do, the best way to describe it was I would do stand-up and they would score my music, sort of something that you talked about, that the great guy on...
like Garrison Keillor?
Correct. I haven't heard him, but it sounds like I took the hard rock route where he took a full-blown music of all different sounds. And
I'm going to send you some stuff of his to listen to because I really think you're going to get a lot out of it.
I know I will.
You got your stuff on lock, but like when I first heard what you were doing with comedy and music, I was like, he's like the metal Garrison Keillor. Like, this is amazing. But
and that's what I was doing. I would go out, I would do my stand up, and the band would score my story. So if I'd say I came in and I felt wasted, I'm like, they would enhance the mood, and then I would do bands. We would do Metallica, Motley Crue, Judas Priest doing Gilligan's Island, or it was an improv thing. Give me something they should do. Okay, give me a TV theme. And we toured, and I stopped doing it. I had children. I didn't want to tour. I went on radio, and then I started going back out in 2008. 2008, a lot of people would come to my stand-up shows and go, are you ever going to do that band thing again? I said, you saw that? Oh, my God, it was the greatest. I still remember that one song, 4 a.m. Like, wow. Do you have a record? No. So Wacken was the beginning. However, I did Rock on the Range with the band, and I'll never forget this. It was like 2 PM, and the band before me, I don't remember who, they had like, I don't know, 200 people in front of them, which looks awkward in a big space.
It does.
And I didn't want to go out.
You just summed up my musical career, by the way. Hey, we're going to put you on a huge festival. Hello, 50 people that are annoyed that you're disturbing their conversation, but go on.
Right. And so the guy goes, a woman comes and goes, all right, are you ready? I went, yeah. I go, is there anyone standing in front of the stage? She went, you haven't looked? Well, no, she goes, I can't see where the crowd ends. I'm like, come on. Oh. And I walked out. It was thousands. I went, oh my God, we better. And we started with the band, and the greatest thing was watching them thrash. We did thrash that day. Wasn't fully developed, and they were and by the second verse, down goes garage door, and I saw them chant and went, oh my God. And then when we did the Metallica Orion Festival, we did 2 days. Yeah. Dude, let me tell you something. I was very excited to have Jim on this thing and just to watch him tear it up. And James introduced him right. Yeah! So he brings me on stage. I did both days. The first day, they blew their minds. The second day, more people came, and they were waiting for certain hooks. And I saw them already dancing and chanting as it was coming up. And I went, if we're killing just being raw, just imagine when they have the work in front of them, they memorized it, they love it, and now they come see it. And then we have this whole other element of the show that they don't even know when they come see, the storytelling, the stand-up comedy that'll lead to these songs. I got to get a record, but I have to do it right. I have to make it amazing. And thank God, I feel like I pulled it off.
No, you really did. Like, it's an amazing, amazing record. Like,
Thanks.
I'm telling you, like I said, notes that Vince Neil, much as I love the guy, has only dreamed about for the last 20 years. Like, that one song, Family Warrior, is like the best Megadeth song that Dave hasn't managed to come up with in the last 20 years. Like, you really, really knocked it out of the park. And I'm not surprised this stuff is going over huge. Why? Because you make people feel good. People love you, dude. People love you, and they love you because you have this unbelievable positive energy. Like, the world could be ending, and you're going to find the laughter in something. And it's just like there's a lesson for it in all of us, and then just being around it is going to pick you up and make you smile. You're doing something that I honestly believe is incredibly valuable.
Well, thank you. Listen, we're here on a short journey. We don't know how long we're here. The more we realize we are that relatable with one another, the more we can inspire each other and have fun. Just let's have fun. We don't have a lot of time here in Earth, space. Our souls are traveling through time. I don't know how much longer. So why not enjoy each other, lift each other up, and whatever I can get you by in your day, I am your honorary person to do that. I love it. I live for it. And I thank God for people like you that acknowledge it, to be quite honest with you.
Well, to be quite honest with you, I think, like, let me ask you this. Difference between, like, I've always admired stand-up comics. Why? Because, like, even when you're a guy in a band, like, something goes wrong, you can turn around and blame it on the bass player.
Right.
When you're a stand-up comic, it's you and a microphone, and you win or you lose on your own merits. Like, do you have a favorite? Like, the if you had to boil it down to the most pure essence of Jim, you do like 8 million things, but where do you think you are truly yourself?
Well, I haven't gone out with the band yet. That's a deep essence that I can't wait to get out there. But right now, hands down, it's got to be just you on stage. You own the world. I get the feedback. They'll let me know if we're liking you or not liking you. And that I can live with. I can live with my own failure rather than someone else doing it for me. So stand-up comedy is awesome. You're an editor, producer, director, writer, and performer. And, that's it. They'll let you know, yay or nay. But I can't wait to do this. Can't wait for this. I can't wait to tour this. You have no clue. I've never been. I haven't been this excited since I was 4 years old going to the circus for the first time.
I get goosebumps hearing you talk about it. Songs from the Garage, Jim Breuer and the Loud and Rowdy. Do yourself a favor. Go see this man on tour, whether it be by himself or with his band, the Loud and Rowdy, when they hit the road, and go out and get this album, Songs from the Garage. Jim Breuer, thank you so very much for being here today. You have honored us with your presence.
I am honored to be here. All the best to you. Keep thriving on. I'll be listening. Thank you. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Wearing shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. Dude, it's 30 degrees out. He's got Roman candles. Who shows up with Roman candles? Six pack, and he goes, I got bill money. He's out of control. He's got a heart of gold, I swear. Now he's out on the prowl. So look out. He's gonna be a dick tonight. He's gonna be a dick tonight. Dick tonight. He's gonna be a dick tonight. He's gonna make a life hell. Now we're in full bloom, but we're getting thrown out of the bar because he started a fight with the bouncer. Okay? Well, yeah, he's hitting on the bouncer's wife who's pregnant. I go, how do you not know this situation? He goes, bro, I thought she was fat. You know how I like chubby chicks. And this is what he's explaining from the husband. So naturally, the guy throws us out. So what does he do? He takes